you don't already know those fundamentals to verify that AI is giving you the right thing, then like I said, a lot of times you're still lost in the sauce. That's how we say it back home, being lost in the sauce. Welcome to DebtFreeinIT. I'm your host, Mike. This podcast is for anyone who's looking to get into the IT industry, whether it's for a career change or you're just interested. I think you come to the right place. Today's episode, we're diving into is networking still worth learning in 2026? Because there's been a lot of talk going on, a lot of questions coming in, and most people are asking, is networking still worth it? Is AI going to take my networking job? Am I still able to get a job in networking? So a lot of things have come about. There's been a lot of changes within the past couple of years. So today, I'm going to set the record straight. And I'll tell you now, it's still worth it, but that networking job may not be the same as it was 5 years ago. So let's get to it. So the first thing that you hear a lot when it comes to networking basically is networking going to replace network engineers? So from my standpoint, I don't think it's going to replace network engineers. So it may be where network engineers or networking folks in general is basically going to have to learn how to use AI. So like I said, you're going to have to use it in some shape, form, or fashion. I would probably say over 75% of folks in networking is probably already using AI in some kind of shape, form, or fashion. So this could be engineers picking up a little bit of skills in what we call prompt engineering. So basically knowing how to prompt AI to handle things that used to be done manually. So with prompt engineering, not trying to go into my teaching bag, but, usually with prompt engineering, some of the prompt engineering tactics or techniques is basically giving AI a role. So where if I'm prompting AI and I'm in a networking position where I would tell AI that basically you are a networking engineer and here's some things I want you to do. So I think that, AI ain't going to replace engineers, but basically all engineers, and you might well say anyone in the tech industry, is basically going to have to learn how to use AI in some kind of shape, form, or fashion. Then looking at some of the ways that AI could be used in one of these positions. So basically, if you got a configuration or maybe there's something that you're trying to troubleshoot, basically just having AI to help you troubleshoot it, to where before AI, as someone in networking, basically you had other tools to kind of help you to troubleshoot different things. So with AI, you just look at it similar to like a single pane of glass, where you have AI that you can prompt it or you can communicate with AI and it reaches out to those other tools that you used to have to go to separately. So one of the tools, that comes to mind is something like a SolarWinds. So with SolarWinds, you're able to look at it, monitor your interfaces, see if you're having any errors on any kind of interfaces. But basically just imagine using AI to where you have AI to go and look for you and pull that information back in. And then you may have AI to go and check out something else and it goes to another application that you have and pull that back in. So basically being able to use it to help troubleshoot and also to help on the configuration side or maybe some admin task that's done on a daily basis that is very tedious or something that, is something that you just do repetitive task on, having AI to help you complete those tasks a little bit more faster and also a little bit more efficient. And then another thing when I talk about networking or when I think about networking, maybe networking from years ago and how networking has changed and networking in the future. Basically, to me, it seems like you kind of have two different options when it comes to networking. Well, not options because basically, you kind of apply to jobs and hopefully one of those jobs hire you. So you don't really get to pick and choose. You apply to them. Hopefully they hire you. But basically from a networking scope, I see two different options or two different paths when it comes to networking. One of them I like to call more traditional. So this is where, you're still logging into that CLI, that command line interface for most of your work during the day. You may have applications and things like that help push things out. But for the most part, if someone calls with an issue, 9 times out of 10, you're logging into that device and you're managing that CLI. You're putting in your commands in the CLI to help you troubleshoot the issue. Maybe it's a port that's shut down, needs to be brought back up. So you're basically logging into that CLI, you're basically inside of that CLI on a daily basis. So like I said, I like to call that more traditional. And then also you have what seems like a more modern type networking where, you have applications. This is where you get into the DevNet portion of networking. So, the DevNet automation where you get into network automation. You may be using Python scripts to push out configurations or to help do large tasks. So you have these two different options is what I see at most places. I would like to say most of the places I see maybe still using that traditional. You have some enterprises that, basically you can tell that they're probably using something more modern or something more upscale, which goes into that DevNet realm. Then looking at some things that, changed with AI, some things that didn't change with AI. So basically, with AI, you got a lot of tasks that got automated. And then also the things that didn't change is you still have some tasks that you need somebody to know what's supposed to be happening. So even though you're using AI, somebody still has to know that what AI is producing is legit. You know what I'm saying? So if I tell AI, hey, I need you to configure this router, and I want you to, after you configure the router, I want you to go to the switch. I want you to configure the switch with ether channels connected to this other switch. So that configuration that AI puts in, or maybe I have AI to show me the config before I have it put it into the device. So basically looking at that config, so you would still need to know what that config is. So you still need someone to verify that configuration. So another way I like to think about it is basically, if you remember or if you ever worked somewhere in I like to call them mills or a factory, where basically, in the factories, we have machines to do a lot of stuff where most people, you hear the name factory, you think that you're in there sweating all day, things like that. So a lot of times machines did most of the hard work to where that machine basically it didn't take our job, but because you still needed somebody to run that machine. So when I think of AI, I still think about that. It's a machine, but you still need somebody who's able to run that machine, who's able to configure that machine, who's able to understand what the machine is outputting. So just because you tell it to configure something doesn't necessarily mean that it's giving you the right information. So you still need that networking person in place to go over that configuration or whatever they have AI to output to them to make sure that it's still legit. And then without knowing networking, it's impossible to know that it's legit. So you have to still know networking even around AI. Quick pause. Every week I send out the log files. The log files is my newsletter for IT professionals, which consists of the industry trends, certification spotlights, and the career move of the week. It's free. There's a link in the description as well as pinned in the comments. So don't miss out. Now back to the episode. Then the next thing why I think the fundamentals is still king. So basically with networking, regardless of what type of enterprise you're at, if they're using AI, if they're not using AI, you still need to learn the fundamentals. So the fundamentals with networking, it's a special skill set because networking is that foundation to everything. So basically learning the foundation, the fundamentals of networking helps you out in any other path that you go to. So those skills are still king to where if you learn the foundation of networking, the fundamentals, and most of the fundamentals, I'm often referring to like those CCNA courses because a lot of times I think that's a very good course for somebody if you're entry level on up to advanced because it starts out with basically the fundamentals and it starts to build up upon it. So if you take the courses, a lot of times the courses start out, you have the introduction, which basically goes over some basic configuration, subnetting. Then you move on into the next one, which goes into some VLANs and also router on a stick and things like that. Then you go on over into routing. So it takes you from that beginner to that advanced level. So to where the fundamentals that you get from those courses, like I said, I think they're still king. I think they still provide a lot of value to where you still have to know those networking fundamentals, no matter what path you go down, no matter if you're working with AI or not, because like I stated earlier, if you're prompting AI to give you a configuration, if you don't already know those fundamentals to verify that AI is giving you the right thing, then like I said, a lot of times you're still lost in the sauce. That's how we used to say it back home, being lost in the sauce. Kind of telling my age there, but you're still lost in the sauce. So you need to know those networking fundamentals because, like I said, that skill set is a very good skill set to have because regardless of, even if you say, okay, I learned the networking fundamentals, but I don't want to continue down the networking path. You go over to the server side, networking's there. It's going to help you out a lot. So anything that you go over to cyber, networking's there a whole lot. So like I said, it's going to help you out a whole lot there. So like I said, still learning those fundamentals is king. I still think learning the fundamentals also provides value to anyone that goes down that path, anyone that settles in to learn about networking. So then with looking at the fundamentals, like I stated earlier, some things I would learn first is basically, that CCNA level stuff. I think that takes care of the traditional networking path and things like that. And then also if you decide you want to get to a little bit more advanced than that, you have a couple of different options there. So you have the CCNP, which as a beginner, I don't really advise to that. But then you have something called the DevNet, which is, I think, is the automation cert now. So you have that, which it kind of gets you a little bit of experience with the automation side of things. So you're learning about, a little bit of SD-WAN. You're learning about using GitHub. You're using some Linux in that. So basically, it's like that networking engineer and that programmer came together. So basically, if they came together, that would be DevNet. So like I said, this helps you to kind of get used to both different paths there because you got the traditional side, which I like to call it. And then also you have the side where they're using more and more automation, more advanced technologies that you may not get a whole lot of, from the basic networking stuff, from the networking fundamentals and things like that. So like I said, you got a couple of different options there. But as a beginner, I would say definitely go through that CCNA level material. If the CCNA is too hard for you, take it down to either a CCST networking or if you would like Network Plus. So both of those will probably prepare you to move on to the CCNA level stuff. So learn that material, get pretty decent with it, start looking for different roles out here. But then also, like I said, another path that you could go, and a lot of it's going to depend on your area too, because if you're in large cities, I would think that a lot of those companies, they may be a lot of Fortune 500 companies there, so a lot of them, they may be using more advanced tools because they have the budget too. They have the budget, whatever the latest and greatest. A lot of times they got the funds to go ahead and implement whatever's the latest and greatest, where some places may not have those funds, which is why they're still using what I like to call traditional. And then also traditional, if I ever went back into the field, I think traditional would probably be what I look for because that's where I came from. So then when I move back to traditional, and then as I get back acclimated with that, and then decide to advance my skill set and start carrying over to more of the automation, more of the DevNet side of things. So basically, after studying the CCNA and then maybe deciding to go over to some DevNet, one of the next things that you can do when you start looking for jobs and things like that is kind of reverse engineer the job role. So look at your area, see what jobs is out there, what companies is out there. Do you have large companies out there? Or do you have a lot of small companies out there where you at? Basically look up the networking role. And then in the description of the networking role, you look for, if you see terms like Terraform, Ansible, Python listed, then 9 times out of 10, they're probably using the more modern approach to networking because a lot of times, like I said, they have the budget for it, those larger companies. But if you don't see none of that, 9 times out of 10, they're probably using more of the traditional route where you're still logging into that CLI. So this is how you can take that from your area. You see what most of these jobs is asking for. Now you have a list of things you need to learn. So for Terraform, Ansible, Python, there's plenty of individual courses or individual platforms that you can learn all this from. So you have to just find which one suits you the best, which one you like the best. But there's ways to go out and learn these applications where a lot of these sites even have labs and things like that. So you kind of want to reverse engineer everything and work from the end back. So basically looking at what these networking roles are asking for in your area. And then while you're looking in your area, so some of the places, like I always say, to look, traditional, for the traditional style that I like to call it, a lot of places like your schools, hospitals, governments, small to mid-sized shops in your area, a lot of times they're probably still using traditional, because in order for a company to basically implement a lot of this new technology and things like that, a lot of time it involves them upgrading their whole infrastructure as far as their routers and switches. So if they have an old model there or something like that, they may have to upgrade it to some brand new, whatever the newest, latest, and greatest that's out. So for a lot of places, that's a lot of money. So they may not have it in their budget. So you see a lot of schools, hospitals, some of those places, they may not be to that point yet. So, which I think is a good opportunity, because you start working at one of these places and then they eventually get to where they're going to implement some of this new stuff. They're going to upgrade everything so that they can run some of this new technology. Now you're there to get that experience of going from that traditional to being upgraded. So you're learning along with everyone else, which I think is a very good fit. And then, like I said, most of the Fortune 500 companies, any large banks in your area, a lot of those places, tech companies, large tech companies, a lot of them, they're going to have that more modern approach because they have the funds to go ahead and utilize and implement a lot of those technologies. So at the end of the day, decide where you want to land, then work your way back. And that brings me back to the original question. So is networking still worth learning in 2026? So if you ask me, I think networking is still worth learning in 2026. I think it's going to be still worth learning in 2027. I think it's going to be still worth learning in 2028 and on forward, because everything that's being created, everything that's being implemented, it runs off of the network. Everything we have now has an IP address, has a subnet mask. If it's talking outside of your network, it has a default gateway. So everything that's being utilized now is having an IP address. You even look at the Internet of Things. So your IoT devices, a lot of times they have IP addresses. You look at your refrigerators, you look at your smart home devices, they have IP addresses. So networking is everywhere around us. So learning networking, I think, is valuable no matter what year it is, no matter what's being implemented. I think it's very hard to take for AI, anything like that, to take that network engineer's job, because basically someone still has to know what AI is spitting out is right. You're not going to have AI do something and you just go ahead and push it through, because 9 times out of 10 or 7 times out of 10, if you use AI, you realize that sometimes it spit out something that may not be exactly right. So if you want it exactly right, you're going to have somebody to check over it. So, which is how most places is probably utilizing AI now, where AI may be writing your code, but you still have the chain of command of people verifying that code. Then you have that last person who signs off on that code. So you still have all those checks in place, because you don't want it to just spit out something you think is right because it's AI. So networking, I think, is still valuable for 2026. So that brings me to the end of this episode. Hopefully you found some value in this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, you can follow me at DebtFreeinIT. If you have any questions, you can email me at debtfreeinit@gmail.com, or you can visit me at debtfreeinitwithmike.com. Other than that, I'll see you next week. Peace.